Okay, this little, I believe it's a 6-horse, is back. And boy, last time I worked on this was like December of 2020, where it needed seals in the lower unit. And that's the part we had to replace as well. But it's back now. I believe I rebuilt the carburetor, get it running again. And it did run a couple of years. Well, now it's back, and he's having trouble with it. Just won't start. He says he's been pulling on it and pulling on it, can't get it to start. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a diagnosis on it, find out what's wrong with it. Is it spark related? Is it just dirty? Dirty spark plugs. I don't know, but we'll find out. We'll take it apart and we'll start looking at it. We'll run through some troubleshooting diagnostics, maybe check some resistances and some DVA outputs for peak voltage on some of the components and see what we find out. And so it could be the charging coil, it could be the trigger, it could be the power pack itself. There could be other issues like that are a little more serious issues, just other than just spark plugs. But anyway, we'll find out, and stay tuned. So we'll go from there. All right, I saw a spark on that, but it was intermittent. Interesting. Well, that cylinder is firing. That cylinder is firing. You can see that. But why isn't the top one? Oh, isn't that interesting? The problem moved with the wire on when I switched the wire. Got shocked that time. The problem moved with these wires when I switched them. So that tells me it's in the wiring. Now the top cylinder is getting juice and the bottom one's not. Just from switching these ground wires here. Or I think whatever these wires are, I think these are the low resistance wires on the coil. Let me double check that again. I just want to make sure I'm looking at that correctly. Yeah, the top one's firing, the bottom one's not. Now at this point. So if I trace this lead, could it be the coil coming out of the? No, it's got to be in this wire down here. It's got to be in this wire. Something about this wire is not. I'm not getting anything from it. It started working on the top cylinder and not the bottom, and it was because of this wire. And this could be these two wires lead to the pack, so it might not be getting a signal to the pack from the coil or from the pack to the coil. Thinking it's in the pack, but until I know what the resistances are supposed to be on the coil, I won't know for sure. Okay, right now I'm still trying to diagnose what the no spark condition is on one cylinder. Now, since I've been able to get the spark to move from one plug to the other, I did check the coil pack. Okay, just for the record, I wanted to show the on video the resistance that I'm getting on the secondary winding that's the top. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to bring you over here so that you can see it better. But this is the secondary winding where it leads to the spark plug. Now, maybe I can set this up here so you can see it, but is that in the picture? I think so. Not sure if you can see the numbers, but anyway, the top spark plug for this number 1 cylinder, it's showing, it fluctuates, but it's, let's see, 200 and, once it settles down, 286 ohms on the top and 288 on the bottom. So they're pretty much the same. So I think that's good. I believe it was 200 to 400 is the spec. And when I pull these other wires off, let's see if I can get that back where I had it. And if we touch the lead here for the primary winding, we've got to set it at a lower scale. 200 ohms of resistance, I believe, is where we need to be. We're getting about 0.2, and I think 0.1 to 0.3 is considered acceptable. And also 0.2 on the bottom cylinder. So that coil pack is good. So we can move on to something different. But it was these leads, these 2 leads that hooked to those primary windings that, and these leads lead to the power pack, and only one of them is working. And that's what, wherever I believe, it's possible that one of these got burnt. Okay, this is a brown with a blue stripe and just a brown one. And I don't remember which one was working, but no matter, if I switch these, it would follow the spark plug, it would fire the proper spark plug, whichever wire was firing properly. So it's my contention that it's the power pack that's the problem. I'm getting, looking at the DVA results on the DVA peak voltage readings, it's producing on the charging coil that's under the flywheel. That charging coil is working, so I can rule that out, and I can rule the coil pack out as a problem. So the only thing really that's left here is the power pack. And I'm not really sure if you can check that or not. I'm going to have to dig in a little deeper and find out. So I ruled out the coil as the problem. So I went after I'm starting to look at other things. For instance, this wire here leads to the charging coil. This is the plug for it, and the charging coil has a brown and yellow wire, and that's on this terminal here. So I'm going to put the black probe in that, if you can see that, and the red lead I'm going to stick in the brown wire, which is over here. You can see that this one here is the brown wire, and that leads to this terminal over here. And now you can see that I'm getting approximately 867 ohms of resistance from the charging coil. Now, the spec on that is, I believe, up to 450 ohms. But this is actually showing us that it's higher than it's supposed to be according to the reference information that I found online for this. So I'm a little suspicious of the charging coil. But now I'm going to take these same leads or these same terminals. I'm going to use a DVA adapter, and I'm supposed to get 150 to 400 volts to on the DVA adapter. So that's what this is for. So I'm going to pull these out. Now that we know the resistance is, at least it has a reading for resistance. It may not be exactly correct, but I think it's okay. I don't know. I mean, it's still suspect in my mind. So we're gonna check the same leads, the brown and yellow on this particular terminal. Let's see what we get here. Well, I see about 451 was the highest I think I've seen. 455. So we're getting voltage out of this. I believe that the charging coil is okay. I think that's, I got to look elsewhere. I think we got other problems here other than that. Okay, what I'm checking next is the trigger. And the trigger is, again, these two terminals up here on the same plug that we just checked. It's these two terminals here. And to check for resistance, you just kind of probe those two. One is it's black with a white stripe, and the other is a white with a black stripe. And that's what you can see here. That's what these two top leads are. So we'll put these back in. We'll probe them from here. I'm not pressing real hard, but I want to make sure they're in there. And one keeps coming out. Okay, and I'm getting 39 ohms. And the spec is 15 to 50 ohms. So that's perfect. That's right where we want it. So if I take these probes out and I try my DVA adapter, let's see what voltage we get, if any. Yeah, that's not wanting to stay in there. Let's see if that'll do it. Gravity helped me a little. And we'll set it on 500 volts. And hopefully, as I pull this cord, it will stay there. Looks like around 12, 10, 13. The spec is 0.6 volts or higher for the trigger, so therefore, using the DVA adapter, the peak voltage is correct. Well, this is interesting. Now, I've just taken these wires off these primary leads here, and this is the lead that was giving me spark. Now, when I hook this probe up in the DVA adapter to that connector, watch my voltage. That was over 150 volts, I think. 167. Now, when I do it to this other probe, this is the other. I took the wire out, or the little protective cap on there, so I can see it better. But when I hook this on here like this, and I do the same thing, let's see what happens. Now this is the lead I was not getting any spark on at all, and these are leading to the pack, to the power pack. I got 0.1. 0.1. That's all I can get out of that. Let me see if I can pull it harder. 0.2. 0.2. That's it. 0.2 volts. Okay, so I really believe that's my problem right here, is the pack. And I think all roads are leading to the pack. So I believe I'm just going to get a pack on order. We're going to swap it out and see if that doesn't fix the problem. I'm pretty sure that's the issue. Everything else seems to be checking out, at least to some degree of correctness, or outputs are good, and but not this. This is way too low, and it should be indicative of this. Of this one as well. So if I'm getting 160 here, I should be getting 160 on this one, and I'm only getting 0.2. So, all right, well, let's get a pack on order, and we'll try it out. We'll get it in, we'll assemble it, and see what happens. So box number 2. This is the part number 586800, genuine parts. It says China on it, so that's got me a little concerned. Yeah, we'll find it. So we're going to go after the power pack and just pull this off and put another one on it. This is the new one. There's no real markings here. We got a CD2 586799, a T19G1U. I don't know if that's exactly the same replacement, but it looks like it. Physically, it looks the same. Let's see if we've got spark now. We got spark. See it? Nice healthy spark. That's on the bottom cylinder, and that was the trouble cylinder. Let's see if we got spark on the top. This is the top wire. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Beautiful spark. Beautiful spark. So we've solved our spark on one cylinder problem, and now we just throw it in the test tank and see what happens. So let's try that. The timing light, I ended up getting spark back on both cylinders. It was the power pack is the issue. So the diagnosis was successful. So I'm going to choke it. I got it primed. We'll see what we can do. Oh, hang on a second here. Make sure my wire isn't in the way of anything. I might have to do some zip tying to get it out of the way, but I'll do that later. More to it than just the spark. Primer is tight. Choke is on. Yep, got spark on the bottom. So we got spark. Are we not getting fuel? Did he gum up the carburetor again? Yeah, this is just like the top one. I don't know if you can see it, but they're bone dry. I've been pulling and pulling. I should be getting some kind of some fuel on this. Okay. Okay, so what we're going after next is the carburetor. We're gonna take this pull start off, get the air box off, and see if we can't get this carburetor off and disassembled, cleaned, and put back on, and see if she'll run. I suspect that's what's going to fix the problem now. We've got spark back. We need fuel. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to try and start this baby now. See how she goes. I rebuilt the carburetor, or at least I took it apart, cleaned it. I didn't see anything major wrong with it, but who knows? Maybe there was a plug somewhere that I got out and didn't see it. But I got it all back together. Got the choke working right. Everything's back. This was broken before. This is I guess the locking mechanism when it's in gear. It doesn't work. It's probably been broken ever since he's owned it. But I'm just going to tuck that wire back down in here, and looks neater that way anyway. I got the bulb pumped up. He's ready to start. So I'm going to choke it. That choke. Full choke. Choke off. There she goes. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. It's already spitting water out. Forward. Reverse lock doesn't work. I'm not working on that. Whoop. Carburetor might need a little adjusting. The mixture might need a little trying to get the airframes up a little bit. Probably as good as I'm going to get it. Don't have much gas left either. Well, running, she's peeing, exhaust, you see the exhaust coming here, and the telltale. Not even warm. That I can touch without any issue. Just gotta put a zip tie on the fuel line. I think she's done. I think that's probably as good as I can make her. All I did was take the carburetor apart and clean it. I didn't put any other, I had just rebuilt this 2 years ago, so I didn't put any new gaskets in it. It had an ethanol type plastic float already built in. All the components inside looked okay. The needle and seat looked fine. So I think everything was okay in that carburetor. If he has trouble, if he has any trouble down the road, I mean, he can bring it back and I'll put a kit in it, but I think right now this is fine. This should get him, this should get him. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of gas. Well, I'm going to let it run out. She's running real good. It vibrates a little bit, but hey, it's a 4-horse or 7-horse, so it's just a little bit of that. It's cleaning out now. It's starting to run out of gas, and there it is. Okay, so it's ready for the customer. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of Live to Fish Outboard Repair, and you never know what you're going to see. Thanks for watching.